Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. My name is Ursie, and my dear friend Jimmy is here with us from Fargo, North Dakota. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Ursula. It's great to see you.
Yay! And we wish our dear friend Robert, or Robbie, well. We know he's just coming back from a personal retreat, but he's with us in spirit. So the three of us activated what we are calling the Ascension Playground. And then from that, we created or were inspired to do Healing Saturdays. So some of our earlier videos that we've shared around discussions about healing and wholeness. So if this is your first time listening to Jimmy and I chitter chatter about healing, welcome. Our goal is not to give a prescription. Our goal really is to inspire you, the listener, to recognize that you have choices every day that you make about, do I choose love or do I choose fear? And those are, both options as we move forward in this 2022 energy, right, Jimmy? It's like love or fear. And when we choose love, we can stay in this beautiful balance and synchronicities show up. But then because we're human, when we do choose fear, and some of it's subconscious and we're not even aware, but we were raised in a family that maybe was very fearful too. Like one of my fears is, hey, don't go out at dark, it's scary, so stay home, don't go too far, save your money, don't be too loud. All those fears are back there, and the body is listening. And when our bodies are listening, sometimes they start holding on to that fear in certain organs. And the whole power of Healing Saturdays is Jimmy has created a beautiful healing list. And this healing list is, if you, a friend with their permission, if you have a pet or a particular place on the planet that you'd like to send healing light to, Jimmy has this list going and offers daily prayers. Oh, I think I just saw a little orb just go bloop, bloop. Hello, little friend.
Cool.
Anyway, did I skip or miss anything, Jimmy, about Healing Saturdays? You usually start like every day around, what, 6:20?
6:15.
6:15 Central Time.
Yep.
And then you go and you go till about 6:40 typically.
Typically 20 minutes or so, maybe a minute or two, plus or minus. So.
Even though it's called Healing Saturday, the healings aren't just for Saturday. We just come on Saturdays to chit chat about it, right?
Exactly. But they can also email me at that Healing Saturdays 1121 at gmail.com if they would like to add a name.
Thank you. That's right. So if you're interested, if after we chit chat a little bit, if you're interested in being put on Jimmy's list, his email is healingsaturdays, plural, 1121 at gmail.com, and we'll put it in the description. But I was so excited. Let me tell you, I have studied so many amazing esoteric healing modalities. I've done Stargate work. I've done, acupuncture. You and I met through the reconnection healing. We've done all kinds of amazing stuff, working with crystals, working with geometries. But Jimmy, being on your list, a miracle happened this week. And that is why I felt like we should come on and tell everybody. So when miracles happen, in my analytical mind, I'm trying to drop into my heart and feel this. But here's the story. I've had a loved one faced with a healing journey that involved the C word. Jimmy doesn't like it when I say the C word for CANCER, but I have been witness and holding space for 7.5 years of healing. So it's like, okay, are you going to die today? Are you going to die tomorrow? It's like, So I've been under this amazing journey with my loved one. And here's the miracle. My loved one agreed to be on Jimmy's healing list. Name was put down. And Jimmy would send texts every day, starting now, finished. And this loved one who's very much analytical, worked in finance and numbers and, the mathematical side of the house, but has a strong faith in God. And so when my loved one opened up and said, okay, I'll be on Jimmy's list, let's see what goes forward. Well, something happened. And now when there was data from UCSF, one of the finest medical institutions in the country, imaging and showing here's this growth and here's this abnormality, there were two issues going on. Nothing's showing up right now. And there's a surgery planned for this coming week, but nothing's showing up. So I was just like going, oh, Jimmy, I'm going to stop and just and invite you to add anything around what you think happened.
Well, I don't know what happened, but I can tell you what the prayer was.
Yeah, tell us the prayer.
Well, when someone's facing something like that, I just ask the Divine Father, Mother, Child to wrap white light around all abnormal growth, and with divine love to dissolve it. And we give thanks that they wrap emerald green light around all affected areas to restore, renew, and heal on all levels. And I just trust that that's what happens. So.
Oh, okay. So I probably should have brought tissue, but this idea of just blessing, if there's an abnormality that you're faced with in your body, it just blessing it and acknowledging it, blessing it, Jimmy. And then you'd say, wrap it in white light. So like as I got into fear, like, oh, is he dying tomorrow? It's like, okay, stop it. I got to take that thought and even treat it like it's happening, because my body's listening as the potential caregiver or, other partner. It's like, wow, I don't want to go up and down this roller coaster anymore. My body doesn't like it, but wrapping it in white light. And Jimmy, sometimes you say also, sometimes you wrap it in green light.
Well, I ask after it's been dissolved, then I ask the Divine to wrap it in green light to restore, to renew and heal on all levels. So.
Wow. Okay, so that's new for me to really get clear. So, when you and I talked with Anne Marie and we did a starseeds reading on you, Jimmy, with your permission, and we're trying to track, where does this magnetic energy that you feel when you go into prayer every day and support other people who are on the list, or their pets or places, we were able to find out where that potentially that magnetic energy is coming from, because you always say, Ursula, it's not me. Can you want to elaborate before I tell everybody where we think that energy is coming from?
Well, it's just, when I start the prayer, well, even now I feel an energy and it feels magnetic. And since 2011 or 2012, it's been there, so.
Wow. That's supposed to be the marker, the 2012 marker. You probably remember this, for the big shift. And Cryon always says, when we look back, anything before 2012 is going to be like the age of darkness. So that your sensitivity for the healing, because that's when we met, right? We met in 2011.
No, 2012.
2012. Okay. There you go. Like that big shift. And then look, we're both wearing the same color.
Exactly.
Well, with a full-time job, a very demanding career, you have made a commitment in your own heart it's like you take care of animals, you take care of the earth, you take care of people that aren't in your immediate family, and you do this healing list. Now, when my loved one had this miraculous, we don't know how to explain it. He doesn't even want to really talk about it too much until let the doctors tell him what's going on, like where did it go, these two separate issues. When I asked this loved one in my family, what do you think this is about with Jimmy? And the more he got to know you, Jimmy, it's like the path of Jesus. I'm just going to use that word Jesus and then calling out Jesus, not from the religious aspect, like here's the rules and this is what we do. No, it's the life of Jesus and the message, the primary message about love. Well, my loved one said, I can't help but sense that, Jimmy, you have embraced and are embodying the path of Jesus and how you approach life. In fact, so much so that it's almost like each of us goes, wow, could I do a little bit more? Not to beat ourselves up, but like if we see that hurt animal or someone that needs a little bit of extra help, that's part of this whole embodiment of healing. It's not like, can you fix my broken bone, or can you fix my organ that's not doing so well? It's a broader holistic path that getting to know you over all these years. It's been 10 years, Jimmy.
I know.
2012 to 2022, here we are. Anyway, I'm just going to pause there in case you want to talk about something about an Akashic record reading.
Well, actually what I was thinking, when you're talking about helping other people and that, we're all in this life together, and isn't that what it's about, is to help one another? I mean, life can be hard enough on your own. It just seems like to lend a hand isn't.
You're right. And if we can just get out of that trauma and drama of left, right, red, blue politics, if we can just pause for a minute and just look at one another through the lens of our humanity, what you just said is, can you just lend a little extra hand? We're missing that in our society right now, I sense, or we're losing traction on that. I felt like, in 1776, it was the Puritans that came over on the Mayflower. Well, before the 17th, this whole, our foundation as a country, America, was founded on these values. And so what you're just saying is, you're not trying to be political. You're just saying, can I lend an extra hand? But Jimmy, you work with animals that have passed away, and you go and stop and you help bury them. It's just like, you don't leave it for someone else, or you don't leave it for nature. You go and you help out. You've got your shovel.
Well, I don't like to, I don't know, it's life, and it's hard for me to drive by it and leave it on the street. It's like, it's not honoring the life it had. So, yeah.
Jimmy, we just had something in our backyard that I couldn't believe. It was a beautiful white owl. It's so rare. It's almost like, was this someone's pet? And it had unfortunately passed away. And so I was just remembering what you do, like, how do you hold that space for the passage of a beautiful animal? I don't know. And here's that part of healing, right? This idea that, like St. Francis, this communion with nature, that's an energy that comes through you. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, when Anne-Marie and I were doing your star seeds, blah, 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 I'm just chattering away, this idea of you feeling the magnetics. And when we took a really strong look, there's something called, there's the galactic center, there's the super galactic center, and then there's the great attractor. So within those three major aspects, I think it was, got to stretch here. I think it was either the super galactic or the great attractor, which is all about this magnetic energy that you can tap into. So Jimmy's not unique. It's just this idea that if you're predisposed to opening up yourself for focused healing, there's access. In fact, with Eric Pearl and the reconnection, we were being taught about axiotonal grids. Remember that? I love that word, axiotonal. And yet that's not the kind of healing you're doing today. It seems like you're very focused on prayer and allowing this energy to move through you. But Jimmy, tell me what the other person needs to do. Let's say you're on the list. What would be recommended for them to do?
Well, to be aware that the prayers are going on, but also to be open to receive. I think a person can block their healing. And I think most of it has to do with their own beliefs, just being open to know they can heal.
Yeah. So the woo-woo or the magic or the juju or the healing, let's just say what it is. It's the healing magnetic energies requires a partnership. It's not just, okay, my name's on the list. Look, it's not working. Look, I told you it's not working.
Yeah.
Like I knew, like this is a scam. And so if anyone listening, this is offered from Jimmy's heart and my heart and the Ascension Playground's heart to you for free. It's not like, oh, they're trying to get my email or trying to grow the playground. No, this is about pure love. I just got so excited because it's happening in my house. It's like when this loved one went from clinically diagnosed 7.5-year journey, and now it's time for surgery on Tuesday, and yet the data is not showing like where did it go, what happened. And there's a second example, if you don't mind my sharing, where you sent me a voice message of a man who had, I think it was 5 growths. And we won't name names, but a friend of his put his name with his permission on your healing list. And this is just a story, everybody, but it brought tears to my heart. So when it happened in my house, I was like, oh my gosh. But this man was basically in tears for joy, saying, I think the story goes, 5 tumors in my brain. There's a big one and 4 small ones. Well, now the doctors can't find the 4 small ones, and the big one is getting smaller. Now, I'm sharing this story because it's, again, science and spirituality. This man must have allowed the prayer, allowed the belief that he could be healed. And we go back to Jesus saying, it's not me, but it's your faith that has healed you. Jimmy, you've told me and reminded me of that story, like that woman who said, if I can only touch his robe, I'm going to be better.
Yeah, and he didn't claim the healing. He just said your faith made you well. So there's the allowing.
Allowing, and it's to your point. So if you decide to put yourself or a loved one on the list, the healing list for Saturdays, do let Jimmy know if the healing is done. Or you just say, thank you very much. I'm gonna be off the list now. Otherwise, you stay on the list and it's daily. But here again, it's not Jesus, the ego, saying, bow down and worship me. Look at my miracles. It's quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. It's more like your faith made you heal. So what Jimmy, I think you're saying is, you can every day go ahead and offer these prayers, send out the texts if people want them. But on the other side, that energy has to find some type of way to come in and then be returned. So from your heart to return in gratitude to Jimmy for any type of support, even if it's a shift. Oh, I feel a little better. Still got these things, but it feels better. That's okay. Just send that gratitude back to Jimmy, or back to nature, back to source energy, back to God, if that's what you believe, whatever word, but the energy has to move. It's not static. Even science looks at that energy. It's like standing still.
Well, that reminds me of like Dr. Emoto's videos about when he would bless water or do different things. He'd flash freeze the water before and then put a blessing, and then it would shift. So whatever you bless, it changes.
So that's a really good point. So Dr. Emoto, on the playground, I've done some water crystal fun playing with his card deck. Now he's no longer with us on the planet, but yes, the power of prayer. Oh, in spirit, the power of prayer. His work is still resonating. And these are beautiful crystalline. At the same time, if you're negative thinking all the time, as my friend Janet calls it, stinking thinking. If you've got stinky thinky, it doesn't matter if you're on the list or not. You're kind of in that hamster wheel of, it's always like this. Oh, my life. Oh, the government's doing it to me. Oh, they're doing it again. Oh, what's with the baby formula? Oh, and as you feel the weight of that stinky thinky, another way to hold it might be is, oh, I see that. I notice that, but I'm not going to attach to it, because if I attach to it, my body's going to hear it. And, I don't want to be heavy. I want to be lighter. And this is part of preparatoriness for ascending with Gaia, getting ourselves lighter, trying to live in a lighter, happier place. It's possible. If you can't get to happy, just get to neutral. Like, so I like your reminder about Dr. Emoto. It's so important. And there's one other person I want to call out. That's Pam Gregory. She is this incredible astrologer. So if anyone hasn't found Pam Gregory Astrologer on YouTube, she's awesome. She did a special talk recently, not on anything about astrology. She just had to come out with this message saying, thoughts are food. What are you feeding? It's like this big whomp. Thoughts are food. What are you feeding? By being on a healing list, are you feeding this idea that, hey, if I just crack my belief system open just a tiny bit, maybe something amazing will happen. It's happening over here and over here. And Jimmy, I know there's other stories, but to hear that one man say, almost sobbing, thank you, they can't find it. And there is one that is shrinking. And then for my loved one, they're like, the doctor's like, UCSF, they're going to be looking and saying, where to go? And there wasn't just one, and it wasn't just one issue, so I was like, what happened? What happened is, remember the Anita Morjani, Dying to Be Me? You and I love talking about Anita.
Mm-hmm.
She is basically dead, right?
And full of cancer.
Full of cancer. Oh, you said the word. You said the C word.
I did.
Stage 4. She's already in heaven, gone, but she comes back and has radical remission. Gone, like huge blisters, like on her face and everywhere on her body. Not just blisters, but boils. And she had a full remission. So are you ready for a miracle to happen?
And the part of it is she knew when she decided to come back that she would be well.
Yeah.
And then she also said that afterwards, the doctors wanted to keep taking all these tests, and she knew how she thought about the test results. She could, depending on how she thought, would change the results. So.
And I think in her book, she does talk about how the ancestral thinking, it's not necessarily biology like Bruce Lipton talking about epigenetics. That's a big word. But it's basically, how you think affects your body, your chemistry. So shifting our thinking, going back to Anita Morjani, Dying to Be Me. Wayne Dyer, before he died, said, everybody has got to read her book, Dying to Be Me. It's that pivotal.
Or just watching her on YouTube.
Or watching her on YouTube. Yep.
It's powerful. Yeah.
She's still doing incredible speeches and talks around the country. And I always catch her on panels. It's just a good reminder, like, she can come back from the dead. Imagine if my little problem, let's say I have an issue with my teeth or root or whatever, that's a pretty big, jump to go from being dead to coming back. Oh, I think I lost you, Jimmy. Hi again. So as we wait for Jimmy to jump back and join me, the message of Jesus. If I knew the story of Muhammad or other saints or prophets, I would mention them as well. But there's a clear definition around what love can do and how love can, if you feel into it and use all your senses, it restores you back into the state of balance. Because where there is love, there is no fear. I learned that from following a beautiful singer named Snatam Kaur. Snatam Kaur. She has some of the most powerful music on the planet for me. But she would say in her teachings, where there is love, there is no fear. And so we have a choice point to make. Whatever's happening in your day, I know our minds can validate why something is so terrible, but we don't have to believe it. Let me pause again because Jimmy's back. And we're back. Welcome back, Jimmy.
Thank you.
I know we all have those little funky tech moments, but it gave us a pause to think a little bit more about the stories that we're sharing today, about if you allow this crack within your consciousness to allow for healing to come in. But like you said, Jimmy, if there's no receptivity, you aren't gonna see any shifts. That's why it's so important to get permission. We can't just put all these people's names without asking them, would you like to be part of the healing list?
And not only that, but a person doesn't even have to be on the list. I mean, that's just asking the divine for your own healing, just going directly.
Right.
I mean, just it's an energy you can create for yourself. I mean,
right. In fact, I remember teasing you. You can do it yourself. Absolutely. You don't need a midwife, but there's two things. One is this idea of Jenny Craig. It's that diet system where they always say, how you doing? How you doing? Because if you're like me, you almost need somebody to like say, how you doing? So I know when I forget, I get busy in my day, but when I get your text saying, okay, starting now, it's my reminder to go in and just pause. And so you're like my Jenny Craig for spiritual healing. And then secondly, I'm going to get a little bit back to Jesus, that his message that wherever two or more are gathered. So by saying yes with Jimmy's list, you've got a second person every day, but you have to say yes. And so, I would say the only caveat would be around permission is if it's your child, a young baby, a young child that, what are you talking about, mom or dad? So I think that, or if there's someone who's really not, is incapacitated, you could ask their higher self for permission and move in that way. But wherever two or more are gathered, there's love. There is love, and that healing energy can come through. So Jimmy's feeling it magnetically, and we can try and explain it with the star seeds. We can look historically at the path of Jesus and the embodiment of this beautiful, loving energy through your healing list. But Jimmy, you brought up Dr. Masaru Emoto. So in closing, I ran and got my card deck in case somebody doesn't know about this incredible deck. It's called the Water Crystal Oracle. And it's based on the work of Masaru Emoto. He's an author of a book called The Hidden Messages in Water. And there's 48 crystal cards. Just putting one of these cards under your glass of water will imbue it with this loving energy. So, Jimmy, I went ahead, since we're speaking about love, self-love is one of the wisdom cards, and a love for humanity is a second wisdom card. Would you like to see what the crystals look like?
I'd love to.
Okay, before I flip them over, here's what he did. He would send thought into water, prayers into water, and then that water was frozen. And then the frozen water was sliced and looked at and photographed with a high resolution camera, and the crystalline nature of the water from all that thought and prayer. So this is love for humanity. This is self-love. Is that too bright of a glare? Here we go. What do you think, Jimmy? When you see the images?
Yeah, when I first saw his work, to me it felt like prayers being frozen or captured. To me it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A beautiful hexagonal shape. I mean, that looks almost like somebody cut that from stone. Love for humanity. It's a little bit different than self-love. This one feels way more specific. So yes, definitely self-love is important. It's very important. But the geometries for love for humanity, if you combine the two, imagine that. I mean, this has a very specific center. This is more fuzzy. Between the two, this is his message. So you can take, I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment. There's a whole card descriptor around how to play this game. It's a game and it's real because he was a doctor of science. But you take your glass of water and you can put this is not a glass, this is my Ursula the Sea Witch mug, but the concept is putting a glass of water with the card underneath by your bedside before you go to bed at night. You wake up in the morning and you drink the water. It has spent all night being infused with that loving energy. And I actually learned that idea from Drunville Melchizedek, talking about some of the mystery school teachings. That's an easy one. Self-love and love for humanity.
You know, I've actually had glasses etched with the words like love, health, healing. So that energy is in the glass itself. So when whatever you pour into it.
That's right. In fact, you don't even need this card deck. That's even a better way, Jimmy. They say the highest vibratory word in the English language is the word, do you know the word, Jimmy?
I would guess love, but...
I would guess love too. There's a little higher frequency than love, believe it or not.
Joy.
Well, one more try. It starts with a G.
G.
Do, 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 do.
I'll let you do it.
It starts with a G-R. Do, do. I'm teasing you. It's the word gratitude. Something must shift when we're grateful for something. Because if I just say love, you know, all we need is love. But if I say gratitude, it actually, I think, it makes me go, okay, what am I grateful for? It asks me to move. Remember we talked about energy moving? Yeah. So this idea of our thought going, what am I grateful for? Those gratitude journals, don't underestimate that power, because you're asking yourself, yeah, what am I grateful for? Gratitude. So you could write the word gratitude on your glass.
Actually, you have that word on it.
A little longer. And if anyone listening has learned something else about great words to put on your glass of water, other healing modalities, I invite you to put a comment. It helps build the playground, but it also helps share these other amazing tools to help all of us learn more about healing. And as we get lighter, we ascend. And it's not to leave the planet so much as it is to help be part of the others that we can help, maybe also in gratitude, saying, I'm here if you need anything, but I'm not going to force myself on you. I'm just here holding this light space. Okay, Jimmy, let's say that email again in case people missed it at the beginning. It's Healing Saturdays 1121@gmail.com. All you need, Jimmy, tell us what they need to email you.
Just their name and their location.
First and last?
It's up to them. So
a first name would be fine?
Yep.
If you're very private, just send Jimmy your first name and then the location, city, state, and country if it's not in the US. That way you know where the energy, you know, in quantum, just which Jane Smith is it? Is it this one over here or is it that one? So that's all you need.
Yep, or names of their pet or whatever.
Yeah. So. My puppy Teddy Bear, he's a little cute corgi. He's on the list. So, you know, and the beautiful thing with animals is they don't lie. You can see before, during, and after, right? So not that we're trying to test anything, but it's like, wow, is he moving a little bit better? Or, oh, I wanted to bring up this very important point. There's an or. if your soul, this is just some woo-woo, it's new age, but for anyone listening, I just want to share with you, there's an or. And when you look at astrology, there's always this, yes, but that breaks the rule. It's like if your soul really did agree to come in and have a certain experience, and this is the time for that experience, you can ask, okay, but I just didn't need the boulder to hit me. Can we have this experience with more ease and grace? I agreed to this moment. It's helping me shift. I'm learning through that expansion because it's a little heavy right now. So if I'm supposed to hold something in my body I want gone, if I did agree on a soul level to experience this, can we just have a little more ease and grace, please? Because each of us will have that moment in time where it's time to transition. That's code for to die. Okay, our physical bodies drop, but our soul continues. That's my view. And so it's this idea of, okay, if I'm supposed to have this experience, so be it. But it doesn't have to be this hard. For the rest of us, if it wasn't pre-agreed to, and I'm just wanting to learn the lesson, okay, lesson learned. I wanna, maybe the lesson was about just watching my stinking thinking. Is it stinky thinky or stinking thinking? Maybe it's stinking thinking.
It's kind of the same.
My loved one will often say, are you doing that stinking thinking again? When I go into fear, like, well, if I go too far in the future, or if I look back too much, it's like, okay, try and be present. Go back to that gratitude journal. Well, this is a little bit longer than you and I imagined. I just can't seem to stop sharing because I'm so excited. The miracle came to my house.
That's wonderful.
I know. And you know what? The caveat is embrace it, change the thinking. Otherwise, if you don't change, if you just want to get better so you get back to your old life, that is not gonna, things can return. So use this momentum when the miracle comes to shift yourself into a lighter stage. Because if we just want to get back to our life, well, that helped create the issue. How about move to another place of being? And this is what the playground's about too. It's sharing other ways, alternative ways of being. You do not have to walk through the world heavy with this list of, yucky stuff that you can just keep validating because I'm watching the news or my friends are telling me this. So if you made it through the miracle, now the homework assignment is, how do you want to be?
Well, part of that is to go into acceptance and gratitude to accept it, and so you don't recreate it. So that's a huge part.
Yeah. Okay, Jimmy. So when it's there, bless it, surround it in white light. It leaves. We continue to bring green light for healing. It's that really beautiful, bright green light.
And then, and when we ask it, we just ask the divine to dissolve it with love. So there's no fighting. Everything's done with love.
Ask the divine to bless it. And what did you say? Dissolve it?
And just dissolve it with love.
Dissolve it.
Or transform it with love, or whatever word, resonates with you. So.
Some of us in the electrical place transmute it, because it's all energy. So here comes the energy, transmute it, and now it's something else. Again, Pam Gregory, thoughts are food. What are you feeding? Well, today I'm feeding gratitude, thankfulness. Jimmy, I'm just going to shout out, I love you. Thank you.
Too. No thanks needed.
Okay. Well, for everybody else, thanks for joining us on the Ascension Playground. Till next time. Bye for now.
See you next time.